Hello, everybody. It is post E3. E3 has just finished. It's in the books. And me and Greg are going to talk about everything that just happened. I'm your host, Anthony. And with me, as always, as I just said a minute ago, is none other than Greg Dietz.
Hey, guys. I just want to say before we start this, hashtag let Batman eat pussy.
Absolutely. Let the man eat some pussy.
For anyone listening who doesn't know that story, which I'll be surprised, in season 3 of the Harley Quinn show, it's not shown explicitly, but it's very much implied that Batman goes down on Catwoman, and they asked for when it's it being on HBO Max for DC asked for that scene to be removed. Upon asking why, the answer was because heroes don't do that.
Yeah.
Yes, they fucking do.
They do. Oh man, that was hilarious.
Hashtag let Batman eat pussy.
Absolutely.
But yeah, E3's done and over. Interesting the year because we didn't have one last year due to the fact that it was COVID and whatnot, and
right.
We had announcements and conferences and stuff like that, but it wasn't anything like major. Like, it was hard to kind of explain. It was very weird last year, but this year it was sort of back in a digital format. And, yeah, we got, quite a few games that were announced. We're going to go through those, as Anthony has stated earlier. I don't know. You're going to hear me complain about something later. I just want to warn you guys, our listeners, anybody that listens to this, I'm gonna have a big complaint later. I kind of mentioned it to Anthony, but oh boy, I don't know how to explain it. We'll get to it. But yeah, we're gonna kind of sorry, I'm taking Anthony's thunder here because my brain's in host mode now suddenly. We're gonna go over games, we're gonna kind of swap back and forth on games that stood out to us.
Right.
Through the whole conference. So, and if we share anything, then we can kind of gush about it. But
yeah.
Well, Anthony, why don't you go first? Why don't you go with the first game?
So I think off the bat, I kind of real quickly want to mention. Well, I'll probably say for the end. Actually, I'll say for the end my entire full thoughts of this year's E3. So I'll jump right into the games actually in terms of what I have.
Because ultimately that's what matters. But
right. Definitely, it definitely does. So okay. By the time this recording happens, the Nintendo Direct happened this morning, and there were a lot of games that showed off that I was surprised it's going to be there. I was good thing my work doesn't see this. I was in an important meeting with lots of other people, and I had on one screen, the Zoom meeting that was happening, and I had videos ready for the play. And then on the other screen, I had the Nintendo Direct happening, and the minute that I saw Advance Wars Remake was happening, 1 and 2, I flipped my shit. I kind of did the thing. For those who remember, years and years ago when we did the co-stream of the Game Awards for Soul Calibur, when Apple popped up and I went hype. Same idea. I got up, I was jumping around and making a lot of noises. Luckily, I have my door sealed up with foam so that I can be as loud as I can to some degree, so no one else can hear me. But I popped off so hard. So the cool thing about Advance Wars 1 and 2 is that it's a remake, it's a reboot. It's coming out this year, December 3rd, for the Switch. On top of that, what I found out today that it's being worked on by WayForward, and I love WayForward stuff. So
they're going to do a great job with it. It looked gorgeous. I'm not the biggest fan of that franchise just because I never have been. I've tried to get into it, but it's not my brand.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, what they showed, I was like, oh wow, this is fucking fans of the franchise are gonna cream their jeans over this one.
Yes, and tenfold. Long story short, Advance Wars 1 and 2, basically, for those who never played it, it's a great RTS game on the GBA. and you get to choose with factions you can be with, and each faction has his own, like almost like each faction has its own hero ability in terms of like what some of the captains can do for each section or each country. And some are better at long range, some are better at healing, some are better at going full frontal. There's also like some of the other factions are very much like in the RTS style. Like this faction is middle of the road. You can probably afford everything almost about. This faction has the most powerful units in the game, but they cost a lot to produce units for. It's kind of the same mentality as StarCraft. Advance Wars 2 is what I really latch on to back in the day. Just because there was so much you can do in that game. Not only just the main campaign, but you can make maps, you can have multiplayer sessions, you can do a ton of stuff. So to see that we finally get Advance Wars happening for a long time, because for those who don't know, Advance Wars, the people who made it, they were the people behind the other game that got really popular and people really liked, and it went on for years and years and years. Fire Emblem, that's the game I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Once that started, they basically said like, hey, this is doing pretty well. We need to go back to we don't have to go back to Advance Wars. So it's pretty sad to see that happen. But seeing this is great. I think hopefully that maybe like this will put interest back to that franchise, and hopefully have people say like, hey, make more Advance Wars games. I would love more Advance Wars. So yeah.
No, it was good. It was I mean, I'm not gonna play it. They're very likely, but I know that there's streamers that I know are going to play it, and I'm going to probably enjoy watching it. So.
Oh hell yeah!
All right, my turn.
Yep, go for it.
This was announced at, because I kind of have it written down in like order of how I saw things kind of showcase, and but this was presented in a way that didn't initially tell me what it was until the very end. But Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Oh, okay.
Or Wonderlands.
Mm-hmm.
So you played Borderlands 2, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Borderlands 2 is by far the best Borderlands game. I've played every single one of them. I'd say the best story is the Telltale one, Tales from Borderlands.
Yeah.
But like, I love the franchise. I think that the third game was a lot of fun. I liked the story, but it wasn't, it was no number 2. Number 2 is just something very special. And the fact that like they're kind of doing something that was from 2 or from the second game that I really, really loved is fun. So one of the DLCs from 2 was Tiny Tina's Dungeon Keep or some fucking thing like that.
Right.
But it was basically like you were inside a Dungeons and Dragons style game that Tiny Tina was controlling. So they've made a whole game off of that, basically. Yeah. Long and short of it.
That DLC got very well received reviews, and a lot of people like that DLC. So yeah,
it was super fun. So the fact that like that's going to be a thing as a full fucking game where she's going to have full fucking like, you're going to make a choice and then she's going to roll a dice, and apparently that dice roll is legitimately random. So
yeah,
stuff like that's going to be super fun, and I can't wait.
Absolutely.
And also like, like there hasn't been a bad Borderlands game in my opinion. Like the first game, sure, you could argue that the story might have been bad, but I would argue that the ending was bad, not the story. And then 2 was fucking stellar all around. Like the story was absolutely amazing, and the gameplay was awesome. And then 3 was like the story was fun. It was no number 2, but the gameplay was really cool because you got different biomes all the time that you could explore and have fun in. The offshoot one, I didn't remember the name of it for some reason, but it was like the pre-sequel. That's what it was, the pre-sequel, because it took place after the first one but before the second one. That's why it was okay. That game, the only thing that sucked about that game was the was the fact that they had like an oxygen meter, and you had to always find these little domes on the moon on one of Pandora's moons to get oxygen back. That sucked, but other than that, like, they haven't sucked. So if it's the same fucking team, I'm in. So, yeah, so that stood out to me. Before we continue, I do want to. I don't. We'll see if it's on your list. I'll keep it. I'll actually write it down so that way I can honorable mention later.
Yeah. I got some honorable mentions too that I kind of throw in there as well. But okay, so for me, in terms of other games, so one of the things I noticed a lot during this E3 was there was a lot of sprite indie-based games, which you saw a ton of. And for me,
literally, there was one showcase that had 75 indie games.
That was the Guerrilla Collective. I went through all that before we did the thing today. One of the things is like, there was a lot of sprite-based games, and for me, like, it's funny. The older I get, the more inclined I'm liking the sprite-based games. And I'm not sure that tells you I'm old and I like old game styles.
I'm with you.
But with that being said, one of the games I definitely have been that piqued my interest was a game called Replaced. The cool thing is that it is a sprite-based game, an action, like a side scroller, but they mesh sprites with 3D background, kind of like Octopath in a way. But the setting is much more a sci-fi, much more of a like a Blade Runner setting.
Isn't Replaced coming to Game Pass?
I believe it is, and it's going to be.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and I believe it's 2022. Was what I saw as well. It looks really cool. I love the aesthetic. I love the way it moves. I love that you kind of like the badass in the sci-fi future, almost like a westerner in a way. It's really
the full subtitle to it, or the full genre, is 2.5D sci-fi retro-futuristic action platformer. A mouthful.
It is, but it looks cool, and it's definitely something up my alley that I keep an eye on. It definitely reminds me almost of not sure if you played this, but remember Runner from Devolver Digital back
Runner?
Yeah, Runner was a twin stick shooter, but that was like a lot of things were red, but like it's also in the sci-fi future. Almost top down.
I think I do. I'm looking it up right now because is it the game I'm thinking of?
You're kind of like a samurai. You got a sword, and you shoot sometimes as well. I think.
Runner. I'm not finding it. Like there's Google searches to complete it, but it always it's like Snow Runners, Speed Runners, Infinite Runner. I can't. Yeah, I don't know.
Ruiner. My bad. Ruiner is what I'm thinking of. Sorry.
Yes, I have played Ruiner. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, Replaced gives me much inclined of Ruiner vibes in that game.
That's fair.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm excited for that. That's one of the games I'm really excited for coming out of this E3. All right, your turn.
So this was shown. I didn't think anything of it as it first started, but as it progressed, as the trailer progressed, I was like, man, this looks like a lot of fun. You could do a lot with this game, and that was Riders Republic.
Oh, the Ubisoft game.
Yeah. If that game has shitty controls, it's really gonna hamper it quite a bit. But like the idea of racing with so many different types of vehicles, and then on top of that, like non-existent vehicles, like the fucking jet rocket thing that they had. There was another vehicle that was it was just like there was a big ass race happening, and this guy with a BMX fucking drove over a guy with like a rickety ass bike that had a bunch of shit on it. And I was like, what in the fuck is this whole game? And I was just so I was so down to fucking try it. I was like, I want to rent that game and I want to check it out. And if it's good, keep it, because it looked like fun. The 64 player races too looked fucking amazing.
The cool part about that game, and I hope they nail it, is that the idea of basically having almost like a big MMO, extreme sports, and like you see people BMXing in the background, or like there'll be people skateboarding somewhere along the lines of a skate park somewhere. Like the idea of it is just pretty insane, and I hope they nail it off. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It doesn't look MMO, but it is MMO because 64 players is massive. So
right.
Yeah, dude. Like I just look like fun. Like if it limits you for what you can actually use right away, that's gonna. I keep thinking my camera's here. It's here. As I usually have my phone flip the other direction. So,
right.
Which I might actually do right now while we're
doing it live.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
All right, your turn.
So, going to jump around here in terms of what stood out to me that I'm really excited for. Now, I'll be honest. I can play the game. I haven't played it. I know I can play because I have Game Pass. Maybe we should just ask you, Greg, to tag along and just do it. The new DLC for Sea of Thieves. That thing was pretty cool. Like that shown off in terms of the combination of Pirates of the Caribbean with Sea of Thieves. It makes perfect sense. Able to finally tell a story, because one of the big things with Sea of Thieves that people have been asking for is you got this wide open world pirate theme game. You get some quests to do, and at some point you kind of run out of ideas or run out of things to do at some point. And one of the ideas, or one of the things people keep waiting, is like, when is the original stories or content coming in? And this, like with Jack Sparrow in the game, as you go through this original quest that they made, it's really cool. I think that's a really awesome thing they did. And Sea of Thieves alone, like I definitely want to jump into at some point, just because I feel like it's a relaxing game, but it's also something that's really cool to kind of go from island to island and explore. So
I actually personally find Sea of Thieves to be very boring. It's just my thing. Like I don't enjoy that game. That being said, when I did play it, like the biggest issue that I came across, especially with my friends, was that there just wasn't enough to do.
Yeah.
There just straight up wasn't enough to do. So the fact that they're adding content, they're making it bigger, and they're adding fucking Pirates of the Caribbean is actually a really cool concept. And for people that enjoy that franchise, this is going to be outstanding to them. This is going to be something that they're going to latch onto and fucking love. So
yeah,
I'm happy for everybody that really got a kick out of that, because
that was cool.
Personally, I was just like, well, that's cool, and I moved on. So
yeah, but yeah, I'm excited. I definitely it makes me wonder if you want to install Sea of Thieves and get into it. Your turn.
I'm gonna actually talk about two games in a row, because there's been a big void that's been tried to fill. Like, it clearly was being tried to fill this year. There's actually 3 games, so I'm gonna talk about all 3 games, Anthony, and then you can talk about 3. So that way we can just kind of get this out.
Okay.
The 3 games that are very much the same but different are the Anacrusis, Back 4 Blood, and Rainbow Six Extraction.
Okay.
So first we saw the Anacrusis, and the Anacrusis was it's an independent made game, but the idea is that it's a giant space station in a 70s retro future style.
Right.
And
right.
you're gunning down hordes of aliens. And the abilities that each character have are really fucking cool. So that's something I know I'm going to try, and that's going to be on Game Pass, so I'm definitely going to try that. But that looked really fucking rad. The Rainbow Six Extraction is a 3-person style game in that regard. But what interests me about that one is that you still have all the abilities of the characters that exist in Rainbow Six, but now you're taking on this blobish fucking thing. And I think that's a really neat concept. I think it's a really, really cool concept, and I want to give it a try and check it out. So now that I've talked about those 2 briefly, I want to get to Back 4 Blood. So obviously, Back 4 Blood was announced last year as a. Was it last year? Or was it?
It might have been. It might have been 2 years ago.
No, it was definitely last year. I just don't think it was summer of last year. It definitely wasn't summer of last year. It was some other fucking thing.
Yeah.
Because when it was announced, I remember texting my friend about it, and we were playing Fall Guys. So Fall Guys came out in August of last year. So, anyway, Back 4 Blood is obviously the team that made Left 4 Dead. Now is doing a different game through Turtle Rock, and what we've seen so far is really cool. What we've seen at E3 this year has me really, really excited for this game because it's a different concept, both in the main campaign and in the multiplayer. So if you remember the Left 4 Dead multiplayer, it was basically just the campaign levels, but 4 other players could be the special zombies. That was both 1 and 2. Back 4 Blood does something a bit fucking different. So there's the main campaign, which is 4 players, but there's 8 characters to choose from, and each character has different specialties, both in the abilities that they have and in the weapons that they have. And you will level up each of those people, and you can have cards that you can attach to them that give them a new ability or some shit like that. But the other cool thing about going through the campaign again is that the AI who controls the zombies will also have random cards that'll change how the game is. So every time you play through the campaign, it'll always be different. And I think that's a really cool idea, especially if it's multiplayer. But the PvP aspect of Back 4 Blood is really fascinating. Like I said, the PvP back in the day was just 4v4, and you 4 players were the zombies, 4 players were the humans, and then as soon as the round was over, you flipped, right? With this version, with Back 4 Blood, the way that it works, I don't know if you saw any of this, Anthony, but the way the multiplayer works there is it's 4 players versus 4 players. That's the same. But the players get to control very specific special zombies, which are called Ridden. And the humans are called Cleaners, by the way. So it's Cleaners versus Ridden. The humans get to go into the map before the Ridden do, and they get a certain amount of time to set up a location in which they will be able to take on the hordes of zombies, the waves of them that come. The Ridden players will get to choose different special zombies that they can, but there's technically only 3 total. But each one has 3 parts to it. So like one is called he's called the Crusher, and he has this giant fucking arm, right? And he can slam like that. He can do this. He can grab and squeeze, or he can. There's another one he can do. I think maybe he just like swings his arm like that and punches people away.
Yeah, he's the Brawler. Yeah,
Brawler. Yeah. And then there's the one that's basically like what the Boomer was, but in 3 parts. Like you can only explode, or you can only charge, or you can only puke. One of those 3. And then there's the one that's like it's part jockey, part spitter, part like trap maker. But each one does something different. I just think that's really fucking cool. That's gonna make the players who are playing the zombie or Ridden type really strategically think about how they're going to try to take out the players. I'm fucking excited about it. Like here's the great thing, Anthony. Rainbow Six Extraction, separate game. Ubisoft, their own thing.
Right.
The Anacrusis and Back 4 Blood come to Game Pass.
Yep.
So if Anacrusis sucks, if Back 4 Blood sucks, oh well.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Back 4 Blood is one of my games I've written down too. As someone who loved Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, seeing Back 4 Blood showcase again this year, and now knowing that it's going to be on Game Pass makes it all much easier for me to play and try. I did play the beta, the last one, and it was a lot of fun. And it basically is Left 4 Dead 3. So it's the same guys who made Left 4 Dead 2, and I believe 1 as well. And I'm excited for Back 4 Blood for sure. Yeah,
I agree.
I'm gonna take that off my list.
Right.
yes, because I just said that. Okay. Oh, and then I have a list of. I'm taking away stuff that you and I have talked about. So I can,
Yeah, same here.
so I can keep track of what's left I got to talk about. Okay. So since you went 3, I'll go 3. I'll go with the obvious. Halo.
Okay, that's off my list now too.
Halo looks good. You know, I'm gonna throw it out there. Halo last time it showed, I didn't have a problem with it. I was just happy there's a new Halo because we didn't have had a Halo in a long time. Seeing Halo again this year, now looking prettier, just adds more to it. The announcement that it's going to be free to play and the campaign looks, very cool as well in terms of now Master Chief finds another AI who they're trying to figure out is Cortana dead, yada yada. So
Yeah.
That to me, I'm already a Halo fan, but seeing some of the multiplayer stuff and seeing what they added and what they've improved upon looks very cool. It's coming out later this year in the holiday season, and
Yeah.
I
And again, Game Pass,
oh, yeah.
if you have an Xbox, an Xbox One, an Xbox One X, an Xbox Series S, an Xbox Series X, or a PC, you'll get to play this with your friends. Period.
Absolutely. I will say this. This is going to be a hard prediction here, because it definitely felt Halo 2 vibes. I think this multiplayer, ish. What I will say is that this multiplayer, from what I've seen so far, and just from the looks of it, I think this is going to be, it's going to be big. Am I going to say it's going to be Halo 2 big? It will come close, in my opinion.
Here's what I see is Halo Reach. I see Halo Reach in it. With the grappling hook and the stuff in it, one of the biggest problems with 5 was people really liked big team battles, and the fact that big team battle in 5 was really garbage because it required it had purchasable items with real money. It fucking sucked. Or if you just didn't have the time to dump into it, you got left behind, and then you'd get killed by fucking a BR real quick or some goddamn tank that some guy was able to buy. It fucking sucked. I could go into the story of 5, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about multiplayer.
Right.
But I also want to mention that about the multiplayer. You didn't quite say this, and because it's not something that you or I are going to think about because we have Game Pass. But if you don't have Game Pass, you will still get to play the Halo Infinite multiplayer. You won't get to play the campaign, but you get to play the multiplayer.
Yeah. That's big. That's really big. That's huge. That's going to add to it, honestly.
It's going to be amazing. Here's the thing. I hope that it's fun. I genuinely hope that it's fun. But I don't know, because it's relatively unclear whether it's going to be good or not. And, you're going to have to pardon my speculation on it, because 4 was okay, 5 was garbage.
Fair.
5 was bad.
Fair.
So,
yeah.
Will this be better? I hope so. I hope that 343 Industries has learned their lesson. I hope that they understand the mistakes that they made and they want to correct them.
Right.
That's genuinely what I hope, because I want a good Halo again.
Right. Definitely. We'll wait and see. But it looks good. But we'll definitely wait and see. Okay. So going on to my let's see, other 2 I can list off of here. Oh yeah. So this was shown off at the Summer Game Fest by Jeff Keighley on Thursday, or last Thursday. Early on, Metal Slug Tactics. Man. So first off,
my list too.
Again, the whole pixel thing really gets me, honestly. But Metal Slug is a series I've always loved, and it makes perfect sense to put them in a tactics game. And the way they showed it up is really cool. It is basically, if you're new to Metal Slug in general, Metal Slug is usually a side scroller, shoot 'em up. You pick up power ups and you go through level to level. It usually was made in arcades and it was very hard, so people often spent lots of quarters in it. But they turned that idea into a side scroller, shoot 'em up, to a tactics game. where you are taking turns and almost like Advance Wars that I was just saying a minute ago.
Yeah.
Yep. Except it's Metal Slug, and they kept the art style. They kept the whole aesthetic of Metal Slug, explosions and all. It looks good
because of the style in which it's based on like a grid system, and it's still got that like 16-bit sprite-ish style to it. You know what it really gives me the vibes of? Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah.
Which I fucking love. So, but only in visuals. Like look, it's still fucking Metal Slug. Like it's still got all the sound effects and.
Oh yeah.
So, no, I'm 100% with you on that. Like that was on my list. So.
Yep. Also, I believe from what they've shown, I think like the cutscenes are all like beautifully animated in between. I believe that's the case. Hopefully it's not just promo material, but if that's like the case of actual like full animated cutscenes, I'm in there. Hell yeah. All right. So going on to my third game, as I have down here. Okay, so I'm gonna put down. So I'm gonna go. I'll go with this game because I enjoyed the hell out of the demo, and it's basically a better Gang Beast. Party Animals.
I forgot to put that on my list. Yeah.
That game is stupidly fun. It is basically a better Gang Beast, and in terms of like. There's much more you can do. The maps I feel are pretty awesome. You can work with Party Animals. For you guys don't know, basically you get to select an animal of some sort. You could be a gorilla, you could be a crocodile, you could be a what else? You could be a bear. I think that was one of them you can do. And you are basically hitting each other, and like the physics are very wonky, but it's that fun wonky, and you get to just push each other off the map. And there's like multiple runs of maps in terms of like there's a ruins, there's an airplane, there's a city, and so on. And it's just mindless fun, but you get hit your friends with, and that's one of the games I had on my list for sure. Another demo that they put out was awesome, but they announced it's coming out next year, which bums me out a little bit, but I'm excited for sure.
All right, my turn now?
Yes, I believe it's now your turn.
Alrighty. So this next one's got a little bit of a rant behind it, and just follow me here because there's a reason behind it. Guardians of the Galaxy, which was shown during the Square Enix conference. Everyone loves the Guardians of the Galaxy when it comes to the movies, right?
Right.
Now let me ask you, Anthony, did this stand out at all to you?
It did. I think it was fine. I'm still on the fence about it. Wait and see.
Why?
But it has.
Why are you on the fence?
I just need to see more. I did see more gameplay of it. What they've shown is interesting. I like the fact that it's a very much reminds me of Mass Effect in terms of you're going into combat and you get to order your other party members to do certain attacks to certain enemies, which that appeals to me. But
yeah,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, okay, so what about it? Why are you on the fence? Like, there's a reason I'm asking you this, and I want to get like kind of an honest response because my rant is going to go in regards to if you say this or not. So
gotcha. The reason I'm on the fence is because I want to see more, and maybe that's just another story trailer. Maybe that's more gameplay. Because what they've shown is like the combat and then a bit of the story and stuff. You get to select story choices, very much like Mass Effect, in terms of like, the decision to, hey, do you want to put Rocket or you want to put Groot in this capsule to send off? And then, there's an indication as far as like this, Rocket's going to remember this. I mean, it was specifically spelled out that way. Okay. That's pretty much what it was. But I just want to see more than what is shown.
Okay, so this is why we're friends, Anthony, because you don't say stupid shit. So your judgment on it is totally founded and understandable. If someone says to me, the comedy didn't really land for me. Okay, I disagree, but that's something we could, that's a conversation we can have. Somebody says, "Oh, I didn't like the combat; it looked boring," right? Because the combat definitely looked like an arena style thing where you just defeat a number of enemies and tell the Guardians what to do. Okay, I get that. I get why that wouldn't be fun for somebody. I don't agree, but that's a conversation we can have. I've heard that the visuals of it look a little rough right now, and that it needs work. Well, okay. First off, it's 4 months out, 5 months out. Give it time. But that's a conversation we can have. What we can't have a conversation about, Anthony, is two styles of arguments or complaints that I've heard about this game. One being much dumber than the other. The first one, which is the dumbest, which is they don't look like the movie versions. Why don't they look like the movie version?
Yeah.
Dumb. Are you serious? They look like the comic books. Mm-hmm. They look like the comic books.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, the other argument that really fucking irritates me is people comparing this game in their I'm unsure whether I want to play it or not because of the Avengers game that Square Enix put out last year. What people tend to not understand, for some stupid fucking reason, is A, different studio entirely, different developer entirely. Crystal Dynamics did the Avengers game. Now, we can have a conversation about whether the Avengers game was decent or not. I would argue it's decent. I don't think that game was nearly as bad as people said it was. But on the inverse of that, to compare this game to that game is disingenuous and unfair to the developer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what you get why I'm saying that?
No, I definitely get it. I also get why some people may say that, only because this game and also Avengers came from the same publisher, Square Enix.
I'm not saying I don't get it,
mm-hmm.
but once you understand that one was made by a different developer, to continue with that mindset is very strange to me.
Mm-hmm.
Borderline dumb. Because to me, Anthony, that'd be like saying, oh, well, Age of Ultron sucked and Joss Whedon made that movie. So obviously the next Avengers movie is going to suck, even though it's made by the Russo brothers.
Right.
Do you see why that doesn't track?
Right.
Why that doesn't make sense?
Right.
They're also drastically different fucking games. Like,
yes.
That confounds the shit out of me. If you want to argue, hey, it is published by Square Enix, which means there's going to be microtransactions in the game for alternate skins for the characters, you are correct. There absolutely will be. There already is for the special edition. That's a conversation we can have. We cannot have a conversation about you going, well, it's published and distributed by the same company, therefore it's going to suck just like Avengers did. The fuck are you talking about? That doesn't make a lick of goddamn sense.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. I mean, nobody can sit there and argue with me that it does, because it fucking doesn't. It just doesn't. It's imagine working 4 years on this game, and you're so excited about its announcement at E3. It gets fucking announced, and then all of a sudden you see all this discourse about the Avengers game. Like, you're still there going, I didn't even fucking make that game. I had no input on that game, and the people that I work with didn't work on that game. What is everyone talking about?
Right.
Like, people don't put that kind of thing in a concept. They're reactionary because of something that happened. Again, we can have the conversation about whether the Avengers game sucked or not. That's fine. But don't sit there and go, because Avengers sucked and it was published by Square Enix, therefore Guardians of the Galaxy is going to suck because it's published by Square Enix. Square Enix didn't fucking make the game. They just threw money at it to be made. That's it.
Right. And I'm not sure how long of a contract Square Enix has with Marvel or Disney, whoever that they talk to have that another game with them. But regardless, like you're right, like this is a completely different game, different studio, and the only reason why people are latching on to the fact that it may suck like Avengers, like people said, is because it's.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not arguing whether the game's going to suck or not. I'm arguing that people are writing it off entirely because of Square Enix and Avengers.
Right.
And that's so fucking weird to me. It's like be cautiously optimistic. I'm not saying don't be, but which is what I complimented you on your critique about it. Like you're like, I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, and I want to see more. Totally understandable. I saw enough for me to know that I want to play it. Period. The same shit, Anthony, happened with Jedi Fallen Order. The exact same shit.
Did it really?
I don't know if you remember. Oh my god, people were just not wanting to fucking play it or touch it because Battlefront 2 sucked.
Really?
I
remember Jedi Fallen Order coming out like at the tail end of the year and seeing, a good number of people play it. It's like, this is pretty good. I did not hear people trashing it because of Battlefront 2. Weird.
There were plenty of people on the internet sitting there saying there was plenty of people saying they were going to play it, that it looked good, but there were plenty of people saying, oh, it's EA, so I'm not touching it.
That's interesting.
It's the same thing. It's the same fucking thing. And here's the thing. I'm not like, yes, I get games wrong, not often, but I have gotten games wrong. I thought Anthem was going to be amazing. I really did. Boy, oh boy, was I fucking wrong there. But it's not super fucking often that I'm like, hey, this game is going to be great, and it turns out to be a pile of shit. Right. This game does not look like it's going to be a pile of shit. What it looks like it's going to be, Anthony, is like 75% story, almost like a Telltale game, and the rest is going to be like arena-style combat. If there's a guy that was like, I don't like to play Telltale games, or like I don't want to play Mass Effect because I want to play a game, not watch a movie. Totally get that. You don't want to play this because it's going to be like that. Fine, I can respect that. I cannot respect you saying that you are going to write this game off because it's published by Square Enix. That's wild to me.
Yeah.
Like, are you also going to write off fucking any Final Fantasy game because it's also published by Square Enix? Like,
yeah.
Frustrating, man. It's fucking frustrating. And I that's all I see. Like, there are a few people in comments that are like, hey, the character designs are based off the comics. Also, welcome to fucking Marvel, where every adaptation has a different style.
Yeah. Absolutely. And when I saw those designs, they're like, oh, they're based off the comics, not from the movies. And I get people who are, because people have been trained for the past 10 years on what the movie characters look like and what Marvel Cinematic Universe has done, that if it's not them, and it's just like it's kind of foreign to them. So I kind of get that.
And yeah, and if I saw a comment that says, why don't they look like the movies? And somebody goes, because they look like the comics, and then that person's response should be, oh, that's cool. It's never fucking that, Anthony. It's always, well, it should look like the movie. Why doesn't it look like Chris Pratt? That's fucking stupid. What the fuck are you talking about?
If they could, like, that would cost them tons of money.
Oh yeah. That's exactly why this adaptation does not have the actors from the movies, is because that's going to cost unridiculously large amount. Like, the amount of money that it takes to make the game in the first place with the actors that they have is how much the movie costs to make. Like, so it's like, and the reason the movie costs that much to make is because a solid fucking 60% of it goes to the actors too.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, Thor: Love and Thunder, I can't even fathom how much that movie is going to cost to make because of the talent behind it.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be tons of money. But
yeah, like Chris Hemsworth is like, I've wanted to stop playing Thor twice, but Marvel keeps like paying me more, so it's like his contract has to be insane. Like, it's just, I just need people to I need people to be critical thinkers about a situation. Think about from the perspective of a developer. Like, somebody was talking about this where they're creative, they make entertainment to an extent, and one of the things they were talking about was like they'll put out a video that they've spent months making, just hours and hours and hours of their time putting just blood, sweat, and tears into, and they've released it, and people just shit the fuck all over it. This is why, Anthony, I've been adamant when I wrote reviews for Mission Start. When I do reviews on camera for whatever, I'm like 95% positive. Even if I didn't like a game, I still try to find positivity in the review, because it just does fucking nothing to be super fucking negative. Does absolutely nothing to be negative.
Right.
And I think that's largely where this complaint comes from. But man, what I saw in that trailer, 40-minute fucking gameplay presentation, and then a smaller trailer, like, this game is gonna be fucking fun. Like, I guarantee this game's going to be fun. Is it going to be simple, and will the combat get repetitive? Very possibly. But I also think that they're going to allow you to adjust things with Peter, with different ultimates, with different styles of fighting, with being able to control the other Guardians in certain ways, and then the story is going to be hilarious. Like, the little things that they showed throughout the trailer of, like, really, really deep, big dives of fucking Marvel cosmic shit, I'm like, oh man, I'm so happy. I saw one person complain about how Cosmo the Astro Dog looks like, because he doesn't look like the movie version. And I'm like, because he looks exactly like the comic book. Like, exactly like the comic book. So, I'm very excited for this game. I think it's going to be a blast. I mean, it's going to be a bitch to play for, like, I really hope they add, like, a streamer mode to the game, so that way it's not, like, copyrighted music.
That's the biggest issue, I think, for a lot of people. It's just like, DMC is going to kick their ass if they play that game.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, that's 100%. Like, people had to shut off, like, when they were co-streaming it, they were like, mute.
Yep.
So, yeah. I hope they add that, like, and it just sounds vaguely like it, so that way they don't get hit. But
I think they will. I think that even Square Enix, to some degree, did announce that most of their stuff is DMCA friendly. So it feels like there's an effort from Square Enix to do something like that.
Yeah. But the fact that, like, for me, who I'm gonna play the game off stream, like, I don't stream right now anyway as it is. Having ultimates tied to fucking 80s ballads and shit is just, it's so rad.
That's cool. That's
so fucking cool.
That's fucking cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Personally, really excited about it. I love the Telltale games. Did you ever play the Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale games?
I have not, actually.
You should. They are great. It was made almost roughly the same, like, they were making it at the same time as the movies. So the Drax that you get in it is not like the fucking movies where he's a little dumb.
Right.
Which, that's the thing also, is that, like, clearly the Drax that's in this game is the same Drax that's in the movie. And, he's like, he doesn't understand certain things. That the Drax we have in the movie is not like the Drax in the comic at all. So the fact that that's a thing, I'm like, clearly they took inspiration from the movie. I don't know why you're against that, people.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah.
So, all right, I'm done with my rant. I probably took so much time with that, but people, just fucking critically think about something and don't fucking write something off just because. Ugh.
Right. Well, as you were going off on your rant and talking about the game and whatnot, I was kind of going through the list. I was like, what to talk about next? I'm going to talk about this game because I believe it was shown at Devolver Digital, which I got a lot of games from Devolver Digital on my list.
Interesting.
Inscryption.
I only have one.
Inscryption.
No, two. Sorry.
Yeah, Inscryption is the game it's really cool. So basically, Inscryption is a card game / horror. Again, pixel based kind of way, but you're in first person view. And
I would call it literally fucking card game, horror game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting, really cool. So basically, the whole setup is that I believe you're in a cabin, or you're in this like small house. It's very dark, and you're playing a card game, but there's like some lurking darkness that's like telling you to sit down and play the game of him, or whoever the person is, and you're fighting for your life to survive and to escape, or to beat the demon, whatever it is in front of you. And it's a really interesting thing because not only do you play the card games top down, but you get up from your chair and you actually move around and explore the area. I think at one point, like, you were looking out the window, and then you turn around and you see him point at the table to come back and play the card game with him. And I'm not much for horror. I'm a pretty big bitch when it comes to horror games in general. But this game, it has card games, which I already dig, and it has the classic pixel-based art style, which, again, like I said before, I'm a sucker for. Combine that into this game, plus from Devolver Digital, I'm like, okay, you've got me on this one, so I definitely want to check it out. And it's definitely a game that has piqued my interest to check out when it comes out. So, yeah.
Well, since you brought up the Devolver Digital press conference with that game, do you because I only have 2 games on my list from Devolver Digital. So why don't we just talk about the Devolver Digital conference, since it's the only one that was more than just a showcase for the games.
Right.
Every year, obviously, they do something interesting. And I was talking to my dad about it, and I was trying to think of, like, what do they do every year? Like, what are they mocking every single year? And in the first year, they were mocking conferences as a whole. In the second year, first year they were mocking conferences. In the second year, they were mocking. Oh my god, I'm trying to remember. Oh, that's right. They were mocking like cryptocurrency.
Oh.
And then they were mocking the digital press conference, which is like that's when they started calling it the Devolver Digital.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because that's their fucking company name. And then last year, they had a showcase, and it was kind of hard to exactly pinpoint what they were making fun of, but it was making fun of gaming culture as a whole, of like looking at all these games and then getting super fucking hyped for them only to be disappointed later. And I love that motif because it's like, it's like I said earlier, the cautious optimism that you kind of have to have with it, and it's clever. So, I was really excited to see what they did this year, and the fact that they were making fun of subscription services was so fucking good.
That was great.
What was it called? Was it Devolver Max Pass Plus?
I you know what? To be honest, I tweeted them. If they ever made a subscription-based Devolver Digital of all their games, I would happily pay. A month to play all their library of games.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, it was just kind of mocking that as a whole, and it was really fucking clever. But honestly, like, there wasn't a whole lot of games that I thought stood out to me in this specific year. Nothing that looked bad per se, but definitely nothing that I was like, oh, I have to play that. There was 2. And I don't know if they're on your list. I doubt one. I'm sure one is on your list, but not the other. But the one that I have on here is the Devolver Tumble Time, the phone game.
That's not on my list, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I mean, it's a free-to-play fucking game, and it's on your phone. It's like, why the fuck not? And it looked like fun. Like, it looked like it'd be just a kind of a toilet game, so who cares? But
yeah.
I'm sure this one is on your list. And it only stood out because of 2 reasons. A, it looked hilarious. And B, there's no digital version of this game.
Oh.
It is only a physical release, and that's Demon Throb.
What
that demon kissed my wife, or something. I was like, that is amazing.
That was great. Oh man,
is that on your list? Is Demon Throb on your list?
It was on my list.
Yeah, I figured as much it would be. Yeah.
Oh man.
But what else is on your list from the Devolver conference?
Wizard with a Gun.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I like the name of that, but
Yeah, it's straight to the point. No, it's really cool. Wizard of a Gun, it's on my list. It very much reminds me of God, what was that? What was that game? People were comparing it to another game that people like. Oh my God, it is totally escape my mind right now. But basically, it's an open world, kind of an open world, top down. Almost like a.
Is it a game like Don't Die or
Don't Starve.
Don't Starve.
Yeah,
Don't Starve.
it's like Don't Starve, except you're a wizard and you're going around and you have guns and you can explore and you can. It's almost like open world in a certain case too.
Yeah.
But you're fighting other wizards. You're going off and discovering other materials to craft weapons and all that jazz. Yeah, it looks cool. It looks super awesome. So like Wizard of a Gun is definitely on my list for sure. That I want to definitely check out when it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I get why people would be excited about that. For me, I was like. It's not my brand. That's all. Like it doesn't look bad, but
right.
Anything else from Devolver on your list?
Yes, Trek to Yomi. In a way, I felt like they were shit posting on the Sony game that came out last year, Ghost of Tsushima. Because the whole thing Ghost of Tsushima was like it was very much of that art style of that movie samurai type. And I felt like this was like kind of a
Kurosawa film.
Yeah, I feel like this was kind of a shit take on that, where it was very much a Kurosawa type of game, except it's side scroller and everything's black and white.
Yeah, it does look cool. I forgot about that one. I should have wrote that one down.
Yeah, it looks cool. I dig it. I'm down for stuff like that when it comes to samurai games. So, yeah, it definitely piqued my interest, and for sure I want to try it out.
Anything else from Devolver? I'm trying to get through Devolver.
Outside of Demon Throttle, I think that was about it. I basically like at least most of their games I've written down just because like their games are really good.
Yeah.
I think was Inscription one of the Devolver digital games as well? Or
the what?
Inscription?
Yeah, those are Devolver games.
Okay, so yeah, so I at least got most of them. Yeah.
Hang on, I had the thing up from Wikipedia. Because Wikipedia's little page like shows off all the announced games from each conference.
Nice.
E3 2021. Yeah, like, and that's the other thing is that like even if that like for me there wasn't a whole lot that stood out for me, but that's fine because so it was Shadow Warrior 3, Trek to Yomi, Phantom Abyss, Wizard with a Gun, Death's Door, Inscription, Devolver Tumble Time, and Demon Throttle. That's all they had.
Yeah.
Oh, here. So at the end of the video, I just want to point this out. This is hilarious. They had a single NFT or a non-fuckwithable tape that was sold on their website for $1,000. Here's the funny part. That $1,000, even though you do get that tape, you do get an actual cassette with that specific conference on it, and there was only one. The $1,000 is going to go to a charity foundation called the Scratch Foundation, and it's a foundation that helps kids underprivileged kids the ability to learn how to do code. So that's what the money went to, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
On top of them, making a joke is also actually good for them. So, but yeah, like fucking Devolver Digital's showcases are always just a treat outside of anything else.
Yep.
I could care less about the game sometimes. I'm just like, oh, they're doing another one where they're gonna fucking satirize something in regards to sorry. They're gonna satirize something in regards to
the game industry.
The gaming world. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in. Fucking here's my money.
Hell yeah.
So there's something on my list that's kind of dumb, but I'm interested in it. 15-player Among Us on the
Oh.
Xbox. I'm like, here's why that to me is something that I'm like, ooh, is will that version of the game? First off, it's coming to Game Pass, so it's not like I'm spending money on it. Will that version of the game have voice channels? Like, will it be just absolute chaos when a person gets killed, or will it be like you have to type everything in? If you have to type everything in, seems weird. Like,
I get what you're saying, and so I get what you're saying. They have been doing that already. I know on PC it's pretty easy to do. I'm not sure if on console you can do. I mean, yeah, I don't know. But so
it's not coming out for a while anyway. But
yeah. So to me, so 15-player Among Us, I think it might be too much. I think that may be going over the sweet spot as they have it right now.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Like if it's the same maps, that's gonna be, it's gonna be ridiculous. Like,
oh yeah.
Do you have 5 killers? Do you have 4 killers? Like, how does that work? Because 10, it was 2.
Yes.
I don't think you could go 3 with 10. So with 15, you'd go 3 killers. Yeah, you'd have to go 3.
Yeah.
So for every 5 people, there's 1 killer. That's what.
Yeah.
So.
I
don't know, man. Like,
we'll see. I have my doubts, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe they'll just like boon another wave of Among Us streams, and it just gets more chaotic with 15 people.
yeah.
So,
I don't know, but I'm interested. Like, and again, it interested me for the simple reason of like, how chaotic will it be, and I don't have to pay more money for it.
Right, definitely.
But what's next on your list?
So for me, going down my list of what I have still. Okay, for those who don't know, I'm a bit of a degenerate at times, and I let my horny side come out every once in a while. Now this game is.
If you say what I think you're gonna say, I'm.
So this game, like, it's not angled in a way that it's degenerate in the way that you may be thinking, because it's actually kind of a sad story in a way. But the game I'm talking about is My Lovely Wife, where Where
was this shown?
This was shown, I believe, during the Guerrilla Collective or some other indie showcase. There were among the 3 or 4 of them that are happening this weekend. My Lovely Wife is basically this person, I don't know, I forgot his name. He is trying to resurrect his wife. His wife is dead, and he's trying to resurrect her. And he would go to any lengths to do so. So he found a way to summon Demon Succubi to do his bidding for him, and now he has a legion harem of Succubi that he can tell him to go, hey, go kill this person, or hey, to go off and do this, in order to bring back his wife. And the Demon Succubi, look cute, but also is the art style is very much almost like
I'm looking at it right now.
like Darkest Dungeon in a way. So like it's
I can see that, but it's not as dark, like not as like splattered, but it definitely has a very dark Edgar Allan Poe-ish style to it.
Yeah.
At least this is My Lovely Daughter. I'm looking at the wrong one.
Yeah, it's My Lovely Wife. The note I put down was Demon Waifu Sim ? Can order them to kill for you. You can choose who dies and who lives. So it has piqued my interest. It's piqued my interest, and it's definitely the more other side of me is just like, oh, I wonder how far I can go with these demon ladies, or maybe it may be much more deeper story than I think, than what it's putting on. But like that caught my interest. It's like I probably will check out on some point.
Okay, it is the same people who did My Lovely Daughter, but I don't know the story to My Lovely Daughter.
Gotcha.
It's a dating sim, an alchemy sim, a management sim, all run into a delightfully morbid, narrative-rich package.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's to the word package. Wow. Yeah, that's. I haven't watched all of the Gorilla Collective. I was going to try to today, but I just super fucking busy with so much shit that I just never got to. But I did try to watch a lot of it when I was door dashing, but
right. I mean, there was a lot.
Also got to work.
There was a lot of games though, to be fair. So like 75 games.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. It's mostly on PC. Like I don't see a single one that's coming to console.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
they could. I like how it's like literally I'm looking at the list. It's like PC, and then randomly Bloodstained Ritual of the Night Stadia. And then it goes back to PC.
Right.
That's funny.
Right.
Well, I'm going to go to the next one on my list before I get to the... Actually, so I'm going to say this quickly, and then I'll get to the game. There was a trailer for a game that was absolutely hilarious, an honest trailer, and it was the Outer Worlds 2 trailer.
Oh, yeah.
It was really fucking funny. And a lot of people were just like, that was the most honest trailer I've ever seen from a games company. And I'm just like, okay. I mean, they're making a joke. Have you played Outer Worlds? Yeah, Outer Worlds, because it's fucking funny.
Mm-hmm.
But people's reaction to it was really funny. It was a little over the top. I'm like, it's fine. It's funny. I'm not saying it's not, but relax. The game I want to mention is Evil Dead the game.
Oh, okay.
So it is an asymmetric multiplayer game where it's 4 players versus 1. It kind of feels like a mix between oh my god, it's a really popular horror-based multiplayer.
Friday the 13th or Dead by Daylight?
Dead by Daylight was what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But also a little bit of, because what it looks like to me is that the 4 players have to accomplish a goal within a area, like a specific span of space, and then they can escape, or they can get enough power to kill the one player. I don't know. But what I like about the idea of playing as the one killer is that it's you get to control the Deadites, and like he's the Deadite king or whatever, and you get to like summon Deadites and different types of Deadites, and but the players come from Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, and Ash vs. Evil. So I thought that was a really cool concept, but I'm interested in it. It could suck so much ass. I have no idea, but I'm definitely interested enough to be like, hey, let me check out that game for you.
Absolutely.
But that's it on my list, other than 3 Nintendo games.
Okay. For my next game I have on here is this was announced during the Nintendo press conference that happened today. Metroid Dread. Holy fuck.
Yeah, that was one of the 3. Was not expecting that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was watching other people's reactions to various streams, and kind of funny. I think it was Giant Bomb, and I believe this was mentioned, but apparently this game was originally announced back in 2004, and they worked on it, and I guess at some point canceled it or shut it down, and then came back to it to release this.
2004.
Yeah, for Metroid Dread. That is a game that was announced back in 2004. That was a project that they were going to work on, and that's cool. It's pretty nutty. But the Metroid, the new Metroid game looks great. It's a side scroller.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Let me read this real quick. So, it says Dread began development for the Nintendo DS in the early 2000s, planned as a sequel to the 2002 Game Boy Advance Metroid Fusion, which is technically Metroid 4. But it was canceled. A message in Metroid Prime 3 Corruption 2007 was interpreted as a reference to Dread, though Retro staff, the guys that make it, variously referred to this as a coincidence or a joke. Critics expressed an interest in seeing the game or a similar 2D side-scrolling Metroid game, and listed... Okay, never mind. Whatever. It says Metroid returned to the side-scrolling format with Metroid Samus Returns in 2017, Um, yeah, that's it. Okay. Wow, I didn't know that. That's amazing. I mean, it makes sense because, like, we haven't had a legit sequel to Metroid Fusion in fucking forever. Because we have, like, it goes Metroid 1 on the NES,
Right.
Metroid 2 on the Game Boy, Metroid 3, which is Super Metroid, and then Metroid Fusion, which is number 4.
Yeah, yeah.
And now we got 5. So
yeah, it's pretty insane. And when I first heard that, I was like, oh shit. So like, I was like, oh wow, that is some deep lore when it comes to the Metroid series.
So the plot to this is interesting too. Players control bounty hunter Samus Aran as she explores the planet ZDR. By the way, I'm taking part of your time on this because it was on my list too.
Yeah, go for it.
Samus must invade impervious EMI robots. I'm just gonna say EMMI. Using a new camouflage power. New moves include dives and wall climbing, along with returning additions from the Samus Returns, such as counters. Sometime after Samus wipes out the lethal X parasites along the planet SR-388, the Galactic Federation receives a video transmission from an unknown source indicating that the X are still alive. They dispatch a special unit of 7 EMI robots to ZDR, believed to be the source of the transmission. Soon, the unit vanishes and Samus travels to ZDR to investigate. So, because of this and somebody else's like speculation on Twitter, there's a reason that the EMI robots are hunting Samus, and that's because Samus is still bonded to the X parasite, or at least to a version of the X parasite.
Yeah.
From Fusion.
Yeah, that makes sense. Surprise! The game looks good. It's a side scroller, very much like other Metroid games. I love the kind of Nemesis mechanic, or the thing from RE2, not from the Lord of the Rings games. And that's pretty cool. I always enjoy those mechanics, and putting fear into Samus in terms of like, like she is vulnerable at all times, and you have to avoid this thing that comes by. It looks cool. I'm excited for a new Metroid, just in general. But this is sick.
Yeah, I love 2D Metroid games. I think they're insanely fun. I played a lot of Super Metroid back in the day. I didn't play a whole lot of the first Metroid, but I did play Metroid Zero Mission, I should say, and that was a blast. I'm a big fan of the Metroid style game, so yeah, I was like, ooh, this looks awesome. I will say this, that it does look like it needs a little bit of polish. Like they showed it on the Treehouse, like actual gameplay, and I was like, either their like capture system is garbage, or the game just needs a little touch up, because it was a little rough around the edges.
I will say, I remember hearing people saying that for some reason it's 60 frames during gameplay, but like during cutscenes it's like 30. So I'm not sure if that was one of the cases where like maybe the capture equipment was weird, or.
I doubt it, because I couldn't imagine why a capture unit would reduce cutscenes specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, even in the state that it's in right now, what they showed, like, I'll still play it.
Yeah, so. Yeah, absolutely. They finally got me. Nintendo was like, Anthony, you now have to get a Switch, and I was like, no, I'm not. And then they showed off the games today. I was like, fuck, you're right. I need a Switch. I was waiting on a Switch Pro to be announced, but it's like, no, I need to get one now.
So I'm gonna announce the next one from Nintendo that I even text you about it. WarioWare Get It Together.
Fuck yes.
Fuck, I love WarioWare.
There's a new WarioWare game in general.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you've never played a WarioWare game, it's a slew of micro games that last a couple seconds at best. As the franchise has gotten a little older, they'll last a little bit longer, like 5 to 10 seconds, depending on the micro game. But the general idea is that they get faster and harder, and then like you lose or you don't. And I just love the silly nature of the WarioWare games, and I'm so fucking excited that it's back, and I'm so excited that there's a multiplayer aspect to it, like a co-op version. That's dope. I'm so happy.
It's cool. I like it. Awesome.
It's a day one buy for me. Like I'm going to buy the game. So
yeah, it's coming out this holiday, right?
yeah. Let me see. There was a date. There was an actual date that it was coming out.
Yeah, a lot of the games.
It's like
a lot of their games showed up at this year's E3, which is like a lot of them coming out in the October area.
September 10th.
September 10th. Okay, cool. Yeah, that game looks good. That's awesome.
The cover of the box is fucking hilarious. It looks like Wario is like the Switch here.
That's awesome. That's great. It was kind of weird hearing Wario talk more than 2 sentences, like full-on sentences, during his press conference. It's like, oh wow,
Fair.
they really got Charles to talk for this trailer.
Next week when Mario Golf comes out, I'll be playing a lot of Wario online.
Nice.
Show.
Nice. Okay. So for me, I'm gonna get this out of the way because it was the most easily talked thing Thursday night. When it happened, you can hear Jeff Keighley's voice breaking as he was going through puberty at that very moment.
Yeah.
Elden Ring, man. That, for all intents and purposes, that game shouldn't exist. On the fact that George R. R. Martin takes forever on his books, so we don't know how long it would take for him to do something for Elden Ring. FromSoft takes a long time to make their games, on top of COVID, in terms like, are they used to doing something like this at all from home, working on a game versus doing it in offices. And holy shit, they blew everyone out of the water. Expectations were blown off the roof, and they basically not only said the game was real, but the game is coming out in 6 months. And I was like, holy shit. And a lot of gameplay was shown too. And so I'm not a Souls guy. Maybe I should be, because after seeing that game, I want to jump in on that. Elden Ring looks super cool. Like, it looks dope.
I think we've been over this. Like, the FromSoft games are never my cup of tea. They're just too difficult and they're frustrating for me, so I just don't even attempt them. Mm-hmm. That being said, by golly, are they fun to watch other people play. Like, yeah. I genuinely enjoy watching streamers play them, and I think the story to like the fucking Demon Souls and Dark Souls games, and then Bloodborne is fantastic. So I'm genuinely looking forward to watching people play Elden Ring. And apparently, from what I understand, it's multiplayer.
There is a section of it that can be multiplayer. So in the previous Souls games, I thought it
was full-on multiplayer, but
no. Like, you can summon people to help you.
Okay, so it's like Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne.
Pretty much, same idea. Yeah.
Because my neighbor was telling me, because I watched the trailer, I just didn't do any more, past the trailer, and he was like, "Yeah, like, it's gonna be dope. Like, you can party up with like 3 of your friends, and you can ride across that land together and like summon your horses." I was like, "What the fuck? That's nuts."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, it'd be way better than doing it by yourself." I was like, "I suppose. I'm still not gonna fucking play it." But right. I mean, if it's just summoning like the other games, then that makes sense. But no, I get why people are excited. I totally get it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that's...
Well, I have one more thing on my list. How many things do you have on your list?
I mean, I got a ton, but I can like maybe pick one more thing and we can just cut it. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, we don't need collective.
Yeah, like I could do like a quick mention of the other games and just like saying like these games also I like. So, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, I'll talk about my last one, and then you can kind of go over the ones on your list briefly, and then we can talk about the conferences as a whole. Mario Party Superstars.
Yep.
The idea that it's over 100 fucking mini games from the other Mario parties. It's standard fucking Mario Party with online capabilities. Yes.
With better graphics. Yes.
Yeah, like like this is what we've been asking for. Like, granted, we've been asking for more and different mini games, but I'll take mini games that already are fucking established and good. Like, I'm stoked about this one. I will buy it. Like,
I can piss off people online now.
I don't. Here's the thing. I don't think it. I think it'll be friends only. I have like. There's no way that this game will be match made.
Right.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah,
but
I don't think I have any. But still, I can do it from the comfort of my home now.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
all right. Floor is yours.
So, the game I want to talk about, and then I'll ramble off all the other ones as honorable mentions real quick. So this game, okay, there was no gameplay shown. It was just announced, but it's a game that I loved back in the day, and it's probably from a different company that's making the game. But the people who made it was made other games after Painkiller. They also made what was that game called from Epic? The one that said Dick Tits and what was it? I can't remember the name exactly right now. Oh, it'll probably pop out at some point. But the game I'm talking about is a Painkiller sequel. Yeah, it's out of that horrible press conference from Coach Media. Painkiller to me was like when they announced that, I was like, oh shit! Like Painkiller was a hell of a game. It was a mindless first-person shooter, very gothic, and that you're going through kind of looks like hell, and you're going through several demons and zombies, and you're shooting just tons of them, and they're coming at you. And you have machine guns. You have a wooden stick gun you can shoot at some of these enemies. I remember playing it because I remember there was in the early part of the game you fought like this 20, 30 foot enemy that you're looking up and you're shooting at. It was really cool at the time. But Painkiller got me excited, and I was just like, "Oh hell yeah!" So I want to see what it looks like. I want to see anything of it when it comes to fruition. But Painkiller to me was definitely one of the games I'm really excited about when it was announced.
When was this shown?
This was shown during Coach Media. There was no gameplay or no nothing. It was the developer saying like, "Yeah, and Painkiller is happening." So I was like, "Oh shit!" So.
All right, yeah, because I can't find jack shit on the internet about it. That's
yeah.
Did it have a subtitle to it, or did they just say like we're working on another Painkiller game?
Basically, we're working on another Painkiller game. Like there's
wow.
Yeah, that fresh. So I'm excited. I'm excited for Painkiller. So when that happens, I'll be all over it.
Coach Media. I didn't even hear about this fucking conference.
Oh boy, that is a horrible press conference. Like I was watching Nextlander, the former Giant Bomb crew, watching it, and then would often be like, whenever it got to the interview part, because the interviews there were interviews the devs for like a good 40 to 30 minutes each for every game, and going longer than that sometimes.
Oh,
so like
I found it.
So they basically the Nextlander was basically they're interviewing like, okay, we're gonna watch old E3 clips from like 1995 from Sega. So we're going switching back and forth between the two. Yeah, the press conference was horrible, but Painkiller was definitely one of the things I was excited for. So
yeah. Yeah, wow. I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah, because apparently like Summer Game Fest ended, and then it was Was it Coach right after that, or was it Tribeca after?
No, so after Summer Game Fest, it was Day to Devs, and then it was Friday. There was two things. There was Coach Media, and there was another thing happening on Friday that I completely forgot about.
Yeah, I'm looking right now because his was at.
Actually, you know what? I have.
It was June 10th was when Summer Game Fest happened. The other things that happened on June 10th were.
Let's see.
It was none of the major companies.
So here was the full schedule of what's happening for E3. So Summer Game Fest kicked off last Thursday. Then on Friday, it was Coach Prime Time and IGN Expo.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Saturday morning was Guerrilla Collective Part 2, Wholesome Direct, Ubisoft Forward, Devolver Digital, Gearbox Entertainment, Upload VR. And then Sunday was Xbox and Bethesda, Square Enix, Back 4 Blood presentation, PC Gaming Show, Future Game Show, the Take-Two panel. That was yesterday. The Monday was Take-Two panel, Limited Run Games, Capcom Showcase, Razer E3 keynote, and then today was Nintendo and Bandai. So.
Yeah, because I had to work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I worked through a lot of these. Like, the only one I actually got to sit down and watch, like, was the Nintendo one today. That was the only one I actually got to sit down and watch. I had to work through the others. So there was probably a lot of stuff I missed.
Right.
I was actually pissed off because I had to deliver a grocery order right when they were showing the actual trailer to Halo Infinite Story. So I had to go back and watch that. And I was like, of course, right now. Like, we pull up right now, huh, Dad? And he was like, oh, it's not my fault. I'm like, I know it's not your fault. Yeah. But no, I did get to watch quite a bit of the Wholesome Games one. There's a lot of games in there that just look fun. It just looked like just a good time. A good, cute time.
It looked like a lot of games to me that, like, you can definitely just relax and veg out too.
Yeah.
I was half asleep, so I kind of didn't care. So it's like, you could be a mailman in this game. I'm all right, sure.
Yeah, not every game that I go, ooh, I want to check that out. It was just like, there was quite a bit that I was like, oh, that just looks like a nice casual game. And a lot of them are going to become to Game Pass. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I don't know. Like, out of all the conferences, I would say the two best ones was Summer Game Fest and Nintendo. The third place goes to Microsoft / Bethesda. And there's a reason behind that. I'll kind of explain myself. Like, Summer Game Fest was a lot of fun because what did I say Jeff needed to do with the Game Awards? Not have the Game Awards, but do everything else. So I enjoyed the musical numbers. I enjoyed the game reveals. I enjoyed certain aspects of it. It was a full entertainment broadcast. I know that, like, I was talking about Devolver, but Devolver feels like it's its own breed, like it's its own thing that doesn't fit at E3. But it was a show. It was a legitimately entertaining show.
Absolutely.
And then Nintendo and Microsoft were just like, yeah, here's a bunch of games we want you to buy. And I'm like, yeah, cool, thanks. Fucking awesome. So, like, no complaint on my end. As for, like, Square Enix, other than Guardians, I was like, I don't care. I just don't care.
I heard that Chaos was a thing, and you needed to defeat Chaos.
For what the hell are you talking about?
Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh, man.
No.
There is a game in there that is, it's called Final Fantasy Origins, and
okay.
Yeah.
It was breaking fucking PS5s apparently.
Yes, it was breaking PS5s today, and the game itself didn't show well. It didn't look good, and there's a lot of the main protagonist saying that he must defeat Chaos, and that Chaos was thrown around in that trailer a lot for some odd reason. It's bad.
I will say that remasters of Final Fantasy 1 through 6 is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
If you like Life is Strange, great. That's stuff there for you. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there wasn't a ton. I mean, like I said, I'm really excited about Guardians of the Galaxy game because I think it's going to be entertaining. I think it's going to be great.
Right.
But from my perspective, I have a GameFly account for single player games. So.
Right. Yeah.
What do you think of the? Go ahead. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
No. Keep going with your question.
I was gonna say, what did you think of the Ubisoft conference?
Ubisoft was fine. Like, I'm not shocked or surprised in terms of, like, what they've shown. Other than the Mario plus Rabbids new game that they were making. That to me, if I hadn't seen the leak of it, I would have been kind of more surprised that was happening. Although I'm not surprised if I think about it. It's cool. I mean, the Mario Kingdom Battle Rabbids game was actually a really good game, and I think that having a sequel to it is, now attached to the Mario Galaxy kind of theme with Lucina in it. I think that's cool. I think it's a no-brainer, and I think it's might do more gangbusters than the last one.
What's nuts to me about people's response to the Ubisoft conference is that, or Ubisoft Forward as they call it, there was actually a lot about it that was great. Like, for example, Rainbow Six Extraction looks good. If you're into Rainbow Six and you like Left 4 Dead, why wouldn't this be in your fucking wheelhouse? Rocksmith Plus, do you just have a guitar? Enjoy this extra fucking piece of software to teach you how to play better. Riders Republic looks amazingly fun. Fucking the first off, Far Cry 6 looks great. But the announcement of this like side story that has to do with like the villains from 3, 4, and 6, 3, 4, and 5, sorry, 3, 4, and 5. Like you get to play as them, like that's really cool.
Was that it? I thought it was like a whole like you get to play 3, 4, and 5 package game type of deal.
No, it was let me see if I can find it real quick. It's not on the wiki for some reason, but because it's an extra piece.
Oh, okay.
An extra thing. Like it's either DLC or something to that effect. Yeah, I'm trying to find. Oh, here we go. As part of the game's season pass, additional content will include modes letting the player take on the role of the antagonist from the last 3 Far Cry games. Voss Montenegro from Far Cry 3, Pagan Min from Far Cry 4, and Joseph Seed from Far Cry 5. Further, the season pass will include an updated version of Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. So, like, if you liked those games and you're getting 6, might as well get that season pass to buy the other stuff. Now, of course, people argue, why make this additional content for 6? And it's like, well, so that way you spend money. Like, it's unfortunate and it's a capitalist hellscape, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Don't buy it if you don't want to, but it looks great. And then of course, Sparks of Hope. I'm gonna play fucking Mario plus Rabbids. The first, like, if you like tactics style games, it's great. It's fucking great.
Mario has a fucking gun. You don't often see that.
I also don't find the Rabbids as annoying as like a lot of other people. I think that they can be,
right?
But like the first time they were introduced in the Rayman game, I thought it was fine. They weren't that bad, and then they had their own game, and that was bad. But usually, if they're paired off with some,
except for the Carrot Juice game, just throwing it out there.
which game?
The Carrot Juice mini game in the Rabbid game.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like that was terrible. But the last announcement they had was the Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora.
Oh, I totally forgot about that game. Yeah, that happened. Doesn't really do anything to me. I just find it weird that we're getting it. I find it weird that we're getting an Avatar game based on a movie that came out 10 years ago that we're now just getting a game too. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Okay. I thought that was really funny too. I was like, sure. Hey James, where's the sequel to the other movie?
I know.
Like, the fuck are we doing here?
That's what been doing for all these years.
Yeah, I thought that was a really funny announcement. I was like, sure, okay. We have no idea what the game will be like, but cool, we're getting an Avatar game. And that's the other thing is like, are we getting an Avatar game? Are we actually getting an Avatar game, or is it a situation where it's not really an Avatar game? It's just an announcement that'll never come out. The sequels to the games.
No.
Sequels to the movie.
What's going to happen is he's going to come out again and then talk for another 10 to 20 minutes about his next movie. So
there you go. $6 for this game. It's just James Cameron fucking talking.
Yep.
Yeah, fuck it. I like that Godfall's coming to PS4, by the way, because I wanted to check that game out, but
yeah,
only PS5.
Yeah.
Let's see what else was talked about that we can mention. Oh, the Bethesda game Redfall looks pretty interesting, but we only got like a cinematic trailer, so no
right.
fucking idea what the game's gonna be like.
We'll see. I mean, it's by the same guys who made God, what was it called? They made 2 games of it. God, I am blanking.
Arcane Studios, Dishonored.
Dishonored, yes, 1 and 2. So, you know,
Yeah,
I'll give it a
and it's on Game Pass, so
Yeah, I'll
play it.
Yeah, I'll give it a fair shake. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, can't stress this enough. If it comes to Game Pass, I'm giving it a fair shake. It's as simple as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's horror stealth, which I don't do those. So.
Right.
The PC gaming show is actually like I like the aspect of like we're not just going to show games, we're going to try to make this entertaining.
Uh-huh.
And it was fine. We got a little bit of Dying Light 2, Stay Human, so that was nice. A little bit of Orcs Must Die 3, which if you enjoy that game, it's great. Yeah, nothing substantial stood out from that for me.
Yeah.
Capcom's was something. Fuck, dude. Like
it had me a little interested when they said we got a message from Capcom Fighters, and I thought like, oh shit, they're gonna announce a fighting game.
Nope.
It was like, no, esports. Was like, oh, damn.
Yeah. There was a friend on Facebook that was like, they should have just stayed home, and I was like, I don't know. I saw people on Twitter that were really excited about the Monster Hunter stuff and the Ace Attorney stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but that stuff was like people have known about that for a while now. And I'm like, yeah, but I would argue we got more footage, and they were excited about it. So let them be excited. Like, I'm glad they didn't stay home because they got to show off some stuff. And I'd rather have Capcom go, hey, we know you already know this is coming out, but we're going to tell you about it anyway, versus, hey, here's a couple announcements that are like 3 fucking years out. So
yeah. So
Nintendo's was great.
Oh yeah.
A lot of indie games coming to PC. A lot of indie games coming to PC.
Fair to say, I think if you look at the whole aspect of this past weekend, this was a weekend taken over by indies throughout the entire weekend for the most part. If you were looking at the AAA space, in terms of like there were some AAA games that people were excited for, and Elden Ring, Halo, and a few others. But for the most part, this was the weekend for indies all around, and that's a good thing. That's a really good thing.
You know who I think had the worst show? It wasn't even Capcom.
What was it? Was it Koch Media?
I mean, I didn't watch that one, so I had no idea. Fucking Limited Run.
Really?
Now,
really? Huh.
I'll explain why. They had some great announcements, and they should have left it there. I don't know what the fuck they were trying to do with the making it an entertaining show. It was awful. Like, it was lacking any kind of comedy. Oh my god, it was so bad.
I mean, compared to last year, was it worse than that, or the same? It's okay to be honest. Our friend is no longer working there.
Well, it's like I would say last year was better because it just seemed like they were in their offices or whatever, just kind of like, here's a bunch of games. Last year didn't seem as like just off-putting, but this year was just really fucking off-putting. It's hard to explain, but like this year was just, I was like, was that a joke? I think that was a joke. I think that was an attempt at a joke. That was really not good. So dude, it was bad. But they had some great announcements. Like, there's a lot of stuff that people are very excited for.
Yes.
And the one that I was not expecting, first off, I get you, Limited Run. I get what you do. I get that you put fucking games that are physical only or games that haven't been physical in a long time. What is the point of putting actual games on old school console fucking cartridges? Like, the fact that there's that what game was it? It's actually gonna get a fucking Sega Genesis cart.
Oh,
they like legitimately showed that. I was like, wow.
What was it?
Don't know what the point of that is.
Was that Contra? No.
No,
I forgot.
I don't remember either, but I was laughing.
Yeah.
The one that they did announce that I thought was just, I was like, good job getting the fucking rights to release that one, was Plumbers Don't Wear Ties.
That was... No, look, I played games for a long time. I don't even know what the hell that game is, but apparently from looking from the internet, it is like some full motion video, like just gem of a game that no one knows about.
Yeah, it was on the 3DO a long time ago, and it is capital B bad.
Oof.
But it's like it's got that same kind of like badness that you get from something like oh my god, what's that called?
The Room.
Yes, thank you. I don't know why The Room. I was thinking of Jesus. My brain was going all over the place. But yeah, it's like it's so fucking funny, and there, it will have a digital release on the Switch, the PS4, and the PS5. Which I'm like, do I want to buy that?
It'll be a hell of a stream to do. It's just like, oh fuck, this would be great for streaming, but everything else, like, not worth it.
Yeah.
I will say though, I think one of the gems out of that press conference was River City Girls 2 and 0 were announced, which is so fucking cool. A prequel and a sequel to River City Girls, which I still need to beat, but it's a really good game. Yeah,
I haven't beaten it either. Like, to me, River City Girls is a great fucking beat 'em up, and but it has too much of that same thing that Scott Pilgrim had that I wasn't the world's biggest fan of, and that's like the super fucking grindy to get past certain parts aspect.
Oh,
especially if you're playing by yourself. Like, I spent hours upon hours upon hours in River City Girls in like the first area just to get past the first boss. And I was like, that's not fun. But you know, if it is something that's like the rest of the game's fun, like the dialogue is hilarious, like no complaints in that department. But like, good lord, like I was seriously like, I sit there for an hour and I grind, go through a door, come in, you know, over and over to get levels, to get coins, to, you know, get stronger, and then I'd go and fight the boss, and then she'd kick my ass, and I go do it again. And I'm just like, it's getting boring.
Right.
It's getting very boring.
Right, definitely.
So, but I mean, that doesn't mean it's a bad game. That's a me thing. That's a me problem.
Right.
So.
Cool.
But this was not a bad E3. This was a lot of announcements, especially a lot of games coming out this year.
Yeah, for me, it was a mixed bag of like things that surprised me in terms of games that were going to be announced. I didn't think were going to be announced coming out this year or early next year or at some time in the future. And other parts where it's like, I feel like a lot of press conferences were, they didn't really have anything to show, but they just did it just because.
Yeah, I agree. Like Capcom.
So it's like, it was a mixed bag between the two. But overall, I feel the overall winner, outside the typical the gamers one, was Indies. I think Indies just kind of really came out of their shell this weekend and really showed like, we're here and we got tons of games that you may not even know of and you may have an interest into. And it's really cool to see like all these awesome indies come out and like just really take over E3. So to me, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's some are arguing that the market is going to get too saturated with indie games, but I also think indie games are where you're going to get the most creative ideas. So there's that too.
Absolutely. So let me quickly just run off my games that I had left on here before we kind of wrap things up. So go from top to bottom. Gestalt, Steam Incendiar, which was written down as a 2D action platformer, steampunk and Metroidvania type of game. Pistol Whip, VR action rhythm first-person shooter game. Colors are very psychedelic. Sweet Surrender, VR roguelike, first-person shooter. When you shoot mechs. I have a VR headset, so I'm more open to playing more VR games. So that one does mean it's like, oh, cool, and it's roguelike. Hell yeah. They always run a side-scroller sci-fi western. Also, another the notes I put down. Another version of Dead Cells. Solstice, Souls-like game, but with cool combos. Project Warlock 2. Project Warlock under my radar, but basically it is a classic first-person shooter, like Duke Nukem in terms of like graphic-wise. So it's in that same vein, which I totally dig. Let's see. You might check out The Legend of Titan, which is a cool art style 2D side-scroller action game. Very much anime influence, almost like Chinese too as well. Lametum, a pixel art survival game set in the 19th century. Wolfstride, black and white manga mech battle turn-based strategy game. Severed Steel, you have one arm, first-person shooter, and it's also very much like Super Hot. Hunt of the Night, Souls-like with retro aesthetic. Death Trash, reminds me of an old classic game. I cannot remember the what was it called? There was a game that they played it back on the Grumps. It was the whole God, what they fucking they memed about it. I want to say They Live, but no, it was an old game they played that I can't remember, but it's basically in the same.
Yeah,
it's the same vein. Diablo 2 Resurrected. Cannot wait for that game. Again, I love Diablo 2, so I cannot wait for that. And of course, the biggest one of the first thing that was shown at the Nintendo press conference this morning was Kazuya from Tekken and Smash. That surprised how out of me as well as many others, and that game now has Tekken, which, you know, it took them a while. It's being made by Bandai Namco, so I'm like, oh wow, that's surprised it took this long. So, but yeah, that's my rundown quick of other games I checked out. So, or I want to check out. But yeah, I mean, E3 this year was, I think, again, just reiterating that this was the year of the indies, or in terms of like what was taken over by E3. And
there's a metric fuck ton of games that are going to come out October, September, November that I'm going to fucking play the ever living shit out of. So
right. But the crazy thing is that this isn't over yet. The E3 has finished. But now we have a bunch of other stuff happening for Summer Game Fest. Like Microsoft just announced that they're having an event Thursday. An extension of what they showed off this past weekend.
Huh.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, we're going to keep going, and there's going to be more stuff coming in the coming weeks. So that's why we're here, folks. We're guiding you through all this madness. So, but yeah, if you have any final thoughts on everything, or you want to wrap this up?
No, I always kind of really enjoy this stuff. I mean, I do want to tell fans to, you know, like, have cautious optimism for everything that you were like, oh my god, about, whether it be Elden Ring, Elden Ring, sorry, that's whatever it was going gaga over. It might suck. Every single game that you were excited for might fucking suck. So take everything you saw with a grain of salt, with a touch of, this might fucking be terrible. It might not turn out the way that we want it to, and you'll be much happier for it. Trust me. I'm in no way, shape, or form like I would argue that the thing that I'm probably the most like excited for is legitimately the Guardians of the Galaxy game. It's just right up my tee. Like, pop that fucker on easy and enjoy a really cool story. Like, I don't know what else to say to that, because like, yeah, Back for Blood could fucking suck. I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to, but it could. So I just need people to curb their enthusiasm, essentially. Not, you know, like to straight call up the show, but I don't know. It's hard to put it into the context, just because I know that people they get so hyped for all this stuff. And Devolver kind of made a joke about that either last year or the year before that, about how these companies make you so hyped for these games that they don't fucking finish and just release quickly. So be happy, be excited, be looking forward to it, but, you know, put on the context. Shit could fucking suck. Yeah,
absolutely. Yep. And with that, you know, my final words is, you know, I think that, you know, as Greg said, take everything with a grain of salt for sure. Even though, like, the hypest things that may happen may not be the best when it comes out. But, you know, just have an open mind and see how things play out. But you know, nothing else to say other than thank you for watching, everybody. Before we go, per usual, Greg, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me all over the internet at ChubRockGeek. Most active on Twitter, arguably. But I have literally name a social media site, and I have Chub Rock Geek attached to it. You can also find me on a podcast I do with my friend Maya and friend Betty, where we review shows that are exclusive to streaming platforms. So this upcoming week, which we'll record tomorrow's episode, I don't say it like that, but anyway, Loki episode 2. Last week we reviewed Loki episode 1 and Bo Burnham's Inside. That Bo Burnham Inside is a very fascinating conversation because a little bit of a spoiler alert. I think it's a work of fucking genius. It's arguably one of the best things I've ever watched since doing the podcast. For Maya, it was borderline the exact opposite. So, and so the discussion that we had there is cool. But yeah, if that's something you're into, go check that out. That's allqueueduppodcast.com. And that's it for me.
Awesome. You can follow me on Twitter at Defective Naruto, my personal Twitter, I should say. You can follow me on my VTuber Twitter at Callmaster_. There is a thing about my debut that's supposed to happen this week, but there's something that has to be shown off that will explain some stuff. I'm doing some new experimental shit I've been doing, so it's gonna, just ride with me for a bit on this one. So, with that being said, thank you for watching. We'll be back again to talk about more about game stuff because this is an ongoing thing in the summer. You thought E3 was over? No. Summer of Game Fest is continuing on, and we're going to see more press conferences throughout the entire summer, and we're here to guide you through it in some capacity.
To some capacity. We're no Giant Bomb, but we try.
Yes. We give our thoughts and opinions, and you may listen or disagree with us. or yell at this. Whatever you want. Anyways, so with that being said, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.